Let's talk about what you should do immediately after your child has been taken abroad. Scream at the top of your lungs, throw some things, perhaps, and then pick up the phone and start making some calls. You want to call, here's the assumption, that you know where your child's been taken to. The worst situation is if you don't know where they've gone. Odds are they've been taken to home, wherever home is, because people have a natural inclination to go to their home base, right, where it's safe. More often than not, that's going to mean where the parents are of whoever has taken the child. And so you got a pretty good idea of what geographic area to start searching for. Pick up the phone and call somebody that does international family law work. Of course, you want to Google them. You want to look for recommendations for someone that does that, because there aren't many people that do that. Once that is done, you also want to get in touch with a local attorney where you are that practices family law, and this one doesn't necessarily have to be international, to talk about what things you can do there within a normal context of family law. Let's say that you and whoever took the child are still married. It may be time to talk about filing a divorce, something that helps get a local court involved in assessing who has the rights of custody in your relationship. You can work with local authorities and courts in very formal ways. The local authorities, meaning primarily police departments. You can also work with state departments, for that matter. We'll do wellness checks. So once you find out where your child is, get in touch with the State Department, get in touch with the police and say, my child is at this place. Can you please go do a wellness check? And really all that is that the authority will go out, knock on the door and say, we've been asked to do a wellness check. Let's see the child. Let's make sure they're there. That's a critical element. Make sure they're healthy. With regard to working with the courts, obviously it will help to have an intermediary. That's where an attorney comes in to work with a court, and that is beginning a formal process for return of your child. That's what the Hague Convention on Child Abduction is all about. If you're involved in the country that doesn't have the convention, then there are still ways to be able to get the child back. They're no less complicated. They can be a bit more intricate. So again, hire an attorney who can work through those different thorny diplomatic international issues for you. There are very few international child abduction lawyers in the United States. I think it's largely because we're such a big country, that when children are removed, more often than not, they're removed to another state rather than to another country. So the difference between someone who practices on an international scale and someone who practices on a domestic scale, which means within that state or within that country, are tremendous, because once you're working not only with a different culture, but a different set of laws, a different set of customs, a different set of normative values, a different set perhaps of parenting expectations, you've got to know those differences to be able to navigate the system. The role that an international child custody lawyer will play has to do with knowing, it's like three-dimensional chess versus one-dimensional chess, right? You might know perfectly well which way a pawn and a bishop is supposed to go on a one-dimensional board, but you change it to a three-dimensional board, you have radically changed that game. And you better know how to not only play that game, but how to win at that game if you want to get your child back. We do traditional family practice as well. And there are issues of abduction in traditional family practices as well. A parent takes a child from metropolitan Atlanta and goes to metropolitan Huntsville. One of the things that we talk about, and here's the first thing, having a sense that your child may be abducted. In a domestic setting, one of the things that we advise, and we would in an international setting too, but it has less viability, is what is your child attached to? Maybe if they're the right age, it's a teddy bear or some sort of stuffed animal. Get one of the tracking devices and put it inside that teddy bear, something they won't let go of. Perhaps there's a backpack that they always use. Find a way to put it within the seam of the backpack. You really are talking at this level, time to play super spy. And you want to think that way. The reason why there's less viability internationally is that there's a limit to the range of those tracking devices, right? And so if they get on an airplane and they go abroad and they go to Europe, your tracking device isn't going to work for you very well. Their time becomes an element. And where are they likely to surface? leaving behind the situations where a parent goes to ground, right? They don't go home, they just disappear. Those are tricky, and we need to talk about those. Those can take a long time. But otherwise, they're going home, and they will surface in some form at home. And they're a good international custody lawyer working with their network of people on the ground who do that kind of work, basically private investigators and that sort of thing, will help reveal your child's whereabouts. In my experience, usually within the year. Now, that's a terrible thing to think about, that your child's going to be missing within the year. But that being the case, the sooner you start, the sooner you'll find your child, the sooner you'll get your child home and get some resolution to this. So if your child has been abducted, start now in taking steps to seek the repatriation of your child, getting your child home. Don't wait. There are time issues under the convention even that you want to be sensitive to. Call us at the Manili firm. Let us help you.